we are not able to control what happens at an international level, but we can focus on what is on our reach. So focus on making farms more efficient, so that when we get into let's say an international problem and the prices go crazy, we can react a little bit better and we don't have the huge losses that we have in the past.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of The Pig Edge, Teagasc's pig podcast with me, Amy Quinn, where we are bringing you the latest news, information and advice to keep Irish pig farmers up to date. Here in the Pig Development Department in Teagasc, as many of you are well aware, our team here carry out 3 key services in the areas of research, advisory and education, which are coordinated to assist Irish farmers in maximising their productivity and profitability while operating to the highest standards. With lots going on here at any one time, I'm joined by Edgar Garcia Manzanilla, head of the Teagasc Pig Development Department, to talk us through what you can expect from us in the year ahead.
After 2022, with all the problems that we have with cost and all that, it has been kind of going back to normality in the planning for this year. So we had the regular meetings with the stakeholders and all these interactions that we have with the individual farmers to capture the needs and the requirements for this year. So the last years, the main focuses has been in welfare, antibiotics and zinc removals, and the environment from a regulatory perspective. So that's something that we cannot escape. That's something that is coming, and we have to address it the best we can. Welfare is kind of on hold until the European elections. Antibiotic and zinc, I think we have plenty of options there to deal with the problem. So this year, from a regulatory point of view, I think we're going to focus on the environmental impact issues. And then there is always the problems that the farmers have to face every day. And those are, at the moment, mostly the need for labor, qualified labor, not only people, but people that is able to develop a good job. And then since 2022, especially all the cost. So we're going to be focused big time in terms of making farms efficient.
And if we were to focus on research for a bit, what projects stand out to you as having a big impact on farms or being of major interest to the industry?
Well, this year we have a few new projects. I want to focus on those because we have plenty of projects, but the ones that are, say, new are these ones. So we finally finished the low emissions building last year, and that's linked to a project in a general attempt to reduce the environmental impact of pig farms in Ireland. So that's one of the big pushes that we're going to do in terms of research this year. We're going to focus on alternatives that we have in feed or slurry treatment, or working with the facilities in the new building and see how we can, in a cheap way, let's say, and easy to perform for a farmer, to try to give them options to reduce their environmental impacts and make them more sustainable. Then we have a very interesting project from Pader there that is looking at algae as a new ingredient for pigs. There's a lot going on in that project, and it's basically focusing on the circularity of the production, bringing new ingredients into pig production to give farmers new options to be more sustainable and not depend that much on soy, especially. Then we have also starting a European partnership in terms of welfare. This is a new thing that Europe is trying to do, and Killing is very involved in that. And this is with the idea to give the countries a little bit more involvement when there are things developing in Europe, like welfare regulation and things like that, based on science. So I would say this will be something that the farmers want to keep an eye on, because it is a way to influence what is going on in the future in terms of regulation. And finally, we have another one that is in collaboration. This is a national project to basically transform what is starting to be seen as a ticking box exercise, all the Animal Health Ireland requirements that you need for Berbia, and capitalize that into money for the farmers. So we're going to be looking at the economic performance of the farms depending on their different biosecurity levels, antimicrobials and all that, and give something back to the farmers in a way that they can use that data in their benefit.
And Edgar, there's going to be a number of projects carried out on commercial farms again this year. Can you talk us through some of those?
Yes, probably the main one is one related to Salmonella. So Salmonella is a public health issue, and farmers should be aware of it because it is a risk for the reputation of the industry. I think we're doing a good job, but we have to keep working on that. And this is a project paid by the department. It's like more than 1 million, 1.3 million, and it's all to improve farms. So it's a good project in the sense that we're going to go to farms with the vet and with the advisors, and we're going to look at vaccination plans, and there is money to pay for vaccines there. So it is a very, very applied project. And then there is money for analysis in the farms to look at farms that have ileitis, things like that can influence the salmonella levels in the farm. So basically, it's improving the farm. Within the project, we aim to work with 30 farms, 30 commercial farms, and improve it along 2 years to see if improving the farm and working on vaccination plans and all these things, we can reduce the levels of salmonella in the farms.
Edgar, there are then some other research projects ongoing or commencing that we must look at with a more long-term impact or value for industry in mind, rather than the immediate direct farm impact. Can you talk us through what stands out here?
Yes, probably the main one, the intention from the whole department is to move towards that direction with other projects. At the moment, we have one that, let's say, is the start of this initiative, and it's in collaboration with the food department, which is a value peak. And the idea of this project is to put value to the good work that is going on in the farms and sell this to the consumers, that they are aware that's going on, and try to develop new labelings, new products like you have in other countries, like specialty products from pork and things like that. And with the final objective, and that's the most important part that we have to keep in mind here, that the value comes back to the farm, so that we give the farmers back the value that they are producing with the good work in the farms. Because sometimes we focus too much in the projects in improving the farm, and that doesn't become a economic value for the farmers. So that's the idea of the project.
Edgar, Well Farmers is a very promising new farm-focused European project that we're involved in. Can you tell us a bit about it and what farmers can expect from it in the next 3 years?
Yes, this is a very interesting project in how it happened and the type of project that it is. It is not a research project. This is something that the European Union promote at some point, because they realized that they had a lot of research projects, but the research wasn't arriving to the field. So this is something that is done to disseminate the results of projects and good practice and best practices that are in the farm or in the field. So basically, this started with Copa Cogeca and the main person representing pigs, Antonio Tavares, and the discussions that he had with the Commission in terms of the new regulation for welfare. From the farmer's perspective, this is a regulation that has been developed without much farmer involvement. So it actually doesn't fit or doesn't adapt to their needs and what is possible probably in the field. So basically, the Commission proposed that the farmers should be involved also in this kind of projects, and Antonio took the word of the Commission and he said, okay, we will put this together. So these projects are supposed to be done by farmers for the farmers, and this is probably as good as it gets in the sense that we have all the farmer organizations in Europe and many of the advisory organizations. And basically, we're going to move around in Europe looking for the best practice in different areas of welfare, with the intention of influencing the coming regulation in a way that adapts more to what is possible for the farmers, the timelines, and the real possibilities in terms of investment. Because in many cases, the investments in farms are changing every 5 years because of new regulations. So you cannot build a farm every 5 years. That's something that is not possible. It's what it is. So this is a project that is aimed to that, to make realistic the welfare that is coming. Farmers want to be involved. Farmers want to improve the farms, and this project will help the discussion in the whole Europe.
Yeah, it's quite proactive, really. Edgar, if we look to the advisory service offered to farmers, what can we expect to see here in the year ahead?
We have to offer the best we can with the resources that we have, and we're going to keep offering the same good service that we are offering until now. We have had a lot of discussions after 2022, especially to see what we can add, what changes we can do to improve in terms of going to a even higher competitiveness of the farms and making them more efficient. So we have identified, let's say, four areas that we want to address a little bit more in detail when we do the visits to the farms and when we offer the services that we offer. And the areas that we have identified, because of the amount that it represents in terms of cost, is the feed is one of the big areas. So we're going to look at the plans in each farm in terms of feed, because in Ireland we have quite a diverse feeding system, let's say, in each farm. Then we want to look at the quality controls of that feed in each farm. So we will be talking probably about the lab in a minute, but just mentioning now. We're gonna start looking at the performance data of the farms more in a different way now, because we have the profit monitor database that works very well, but we're gonna start looking more in detail within each farm, taking data from their software so that we don't have to go to the farms and try to do more detect trends in different farms and how farms are progressing at real time and doing a different approach. And then we have to, as labor is one of the issues, you can add people to your farm, but you can also improve a lot the efficiency of the farm by training and offering what is needed in each farm, whether it is particular husbandry or background knowledge or whatever you want to do. But we have to work on that too, and part of that also influences the management of the feed.
Edgar, can you go into a bit more detail on this? What will this mean to farmers in terms of how will the service differ and what will the benefit be to them?
So in each one of the ones that I have mentioned, for example, for the feed cost reduction, we want to offer the farmers a list of good best practices from other farms and from other countries, so that they can adapt to their own necessities, whether they are home milling or they are contract milling or they are liquid feeding or they are as I said, there's quite a diverse array of options there. So we want to adapt the plans to each farm. And then in the last 5 years, we have been working with the lean methodology for the assessment of the farm. So we want to incorporate that. Until now, there were cases in some of the farms to learn how it works and to assess how it can be done. And now we want to incorporate that for the individual visits that we do on the farm, so that you regularly review what is going on, and from there you try to improve and focus on the most efficient changes. In terms of the feed quality control, this is probably the main thing that we want to develop in 2024. We have the lab that is just built last year for analysis of feed, and we will try to do the maximum that we can with the lab that we have. Obviously, at the moment, the resources are somehow limited because the feed analysis is quite time consuming. But I think we can offer some good data already this year for farmers to see what is possible. And then based on what they need, we can interact with the farmers and say, okay, we can do this, we can do that. We should collect samples from the port. We should collect samples from the farm and see what is more useful. Then I said there about the use of the performance data. And this is the big change here. Probably if they have to keep in mind that until now, the activity that we have is very time consuming. Profit monitor is something that the advisors go to the farm, collect the data, and then we analyze the data. But there is data that is hanging there in the farms in their own software systems. And when you use that data, you can actually react at real time. You don't have to wait for a next quarter or whatever. So that's the idea, to be able to collect. We are starting this year, but it's looking more to fully deploy the initiative in 2025 with more farms. It's using the data as it is in the farm and filter it and detect trends as they happen in the farm and feedback the information to the farmers. And then the staff training probably is the one that we have to develop along the year. We have workshops that are prepared there. We have the apprenticeship starting. And this is depending always on resources. So with all the activities that we have in agricultural colleges and in the universities and all that, we'll do as much as we can. And if there is room for other activities, we'll incorporate them as we move along the year. But it is very important that the farmers come back to us with the needs that they have, because as I say, the resources are limited, but we can focus on whatever is more important for them in terms of staff. Not a problem.
Edgar, you mentioned the feed lab being a main focus for 2024. Can you give us a bit of detail on it?
The lab is in Moore Park, and to make it more efficient, we share it with dairy. So we have the same facilities, and we work together, and we can help each other. We share the technicians and other resources. It's just an idea taken from what is going on in other countries. Other countries have big companies that are doing all this analysis for themselves. So they have 2,000 farms, and they do the analysis for the 2,000 farms. So we aim to do something similar. Very simple, starting for the main ingredients. So we're gonna do barley, wheat, soya, maize, things like that. Also very simple analysis. We're gonna do NIR because it's very fast. You can have results in literally 5 minutes. And then try to work with initially with farms that are around here to start developing the most efficient approach to this. So sampling every track, sampling every week, sampling different ports, knowing where the samples are coming from, and try to map a little bit what is going on in the country, and from there expand. At the moment, we are focusing on ingredients. In the future, we'll look at diets, but I think it's more efficient looking at variability in ingredients so that they can adapt their diets to the levels that they have. And then we'll feed back to the stakeholder meetings, and we will have discussions with the stakeholders, mainly farmers, and see what is more convenient for them. Again, with the same idea to improve the economic efficiency in the main cost of the farm, which is the feed.
Was the specialized advisors on the ground actively support producers during trying times in the industry? What can and are we doing as a department to future-proof in a way, I suppose, against volatility?
Well, that's a tricky one because we are not able to control what happens at an international level, but we can focus on what is on our reach. So all the measures that I was mentioning before are focused on making farms more efficient, so that when we get into a let's say an international problem and the prices go crazy, we can react a little bit better, and we don't have the huge losses that we have in the past. And then also structurally, you need to have some mechanisms there to be more prepared, let's say, for this problem. So at the moment, there's work going on in terms of creating some sort of credit insurance scheme, something like that, with the NTMA. So it's work in progress, and as soon as we have more in particular on this, we will probably have more information out there. But at the moment, there is a lot of focus on that, on being able to cope with problems that are to some extent unexpected, like the war in Ukraine or things like that.
If we look to education for a bit, what's planned here for the year ahead?
For 2024, actually, the apprenticeship, the farm technician apprenticeship for level 6 started in 2023 in December. And there is a number of students already enrolled there. We'll be heavily involved there, even when there is dairy and other things, that the pig department is very involved there. And we hope that in 2024 there will be another batch of students. So in there, it's pretty much depending on the farmers who should keep an eye there and see good candidates that we want. As I said, it's important, whatever you have in the farm, if you increase the knowledge of those people and the skills, the farm is going to be more efficient. So they have to keep an eye on their own people they have there, and people that are coming into the industry, doing the living cert and things like that at the moment. And then also in terms of education, we have to include the workshops. We have prepared workshops at the moment on welfare and health and safety, but I think there will be more coming. As I say, depending on the resources that we have available, we will adapt and we will add whatever is needed there.
Edgar, just to finish up, you mentioned some workshops there, but what other events will we see from the pig department this year?
Yes, I would say that last year we started the Pig Open Day. That was a very, let's say, successful activity, and that's one of the things that is coming now in early May probably. That was something that was very well received by people, and if people listening to the podcast have ideas, please send it to us, and we will continue the same formula and try to tweak a little bit small details. But it was very successful because it's very interactive. So that's one of the things that we want to develop. Obviously, the Pig Farmers Conference is something that we do every year, and that's also a very good opportunity to to bring knowledge from outside. The last year we had 3 external speakers, and we will try to do the same this year because it was a huge success in terms of bringing new ideas, and even with the speakers that were not only technical, but we had those sessions on mental health who was very successful. So that kind of approach is the same probably that we will take. And then there is projects that are, as we were discussing, for example, well, farmers. There are projects that are mainly for dissemination of knowledge to the farmers and to the stakeholders. So that's something that's going to happen, that within the projects there is a big component of meeting farmers and discussing things with them and offering good practices and having a discussion on what can be done and what are the options.
Thanks for the update, Edgar. It's great to get an insight into what's coming down the line, and there's plenty to look forward to, I suppose, for the year ahead.
No problem. Yes, it's a very busy year. So
that's it for this episode of The Pig Edge, and thanks to Edgar for joining me on the show. Don't forget to listen and follow on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast from so you never miss an episode. And for more information from the Pig Development Department, go to teagasc.ie/pigs. I'm Amy Quinn. Thanks for listening.